Penn Mountain Esports players 10 specific questions, and these are their answers.
Watermelon Ice from Gamer Subs.
Ghost Energy, either the cans or the pre-workout, either work.
So I used to be a Ghost favorite, but now
Too long.
White Monster for sure.
Monster, the Fantasy Red Ruby.
The Mount EGG Gamer Subs that they provide.
Taco Bell, absolutely.
McDonald's is so much better.
Taco Bell has to be. I've eaten too much McDonald's since it's right down the street.
McDonald's. I like the Oreo McFlurries.
I'm gonna choose Taco Bell because it gives me less stomach problems than McDonald's does.
McDonald's all the way.
There's levels to this, and Taco Bell is at the top one.
Sheets guy all the way. I actually don't know what Wawa is, but Sheets.
I gotta say Wawa. I grew up with Wawa, and I just think the food's better.
Sheets is the best thing to grace our planet.
I'd have to go with Sheets.
Definitely rough.
Justin, no J-Naps.
Hydron, probably.
Probably T-Corral.
Either Skippy or T-Corral.
Croc. Pokemon Red for the Game Boy Color.
Webkins. That was the first video game I've ever played, Webkins.
League of Legends. Sadly, that was the first game. That's one of the only games that I played. I just enjoy it so much.
Mario Kart 7 on the DS.
No bully.
Probably PGE.
Some of the top masks.
Definitely PGE.
Angry Ginge or somebody in that realm, like Speed and stuff, they're pretty funny.
Probably my dorm.
Definitely Birchie.
I think the pond is one of the greatest schools you can buy.
The library, it just got renovated, much nicer, much quieter.
Definitely my room. Probably the IT area in the library.
Yes, I love snowboarding. I've been snowboarding my whole life.
Are you a snow person?
Not really, no. I don't really like the cold a whole lot.
I prefer summer.
Only for playing Snow Day in Rocket League.
No.
Yeah, I love snow.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm from upstate New York.
I love snow. I think it's so fun.
I think I would play, I don't even know. That's the only game that I play.
Probably competitive TF2. Probably Rivals, you know.
I'd probably just play Trackmania.
I think the culture at Smash is insane. I would love to play Smash.
I'd probably play Madden.
Gotta be Mount Aloysius College. You can't beat them.
Mounties, obviously.
Mount Aloysius, of course.
Oh my gosh, this isn't the question. Mount Esports.
I mean, gotta be the Mounties, right? The culture here is unmatched.
The Mount Aloysius esports program.
Obviously, Mount Aloysius.
You're looking at it. Gotta be the Mounties Esports.
Cool.
You have more important things in life to think about than your internet. At BreezeLine, we propel life forward with home internet so reliable, you don't have to think about it. With a team that goes above and beyond, fiber-powered speeds up to 1 gig, and 99.9% reliability at any hour, in any room. You won't have to think about your internet again. Go to breezeline.com for internet that propels life forward.
Here at Mountain Esports, we take it to the next level. Our players have the ability to travel, compete, and even participate on the caffeine committee. Check out the Insta to see what's new with Mountain Esports today.
At the Mount, things are, well, elevated. And it's not just because we're on a mountain. The experience at a small college like Mount Aloysius is actually personal. The faculty and staff know my goals. It's a level of support you won't find at other colleges. And the Mount backs it up with career-focused partnerships and majors. As soon as I visited, it just felt like home. That's what makes this place different. Makes college elevated. Mount Aloysius College.
The first, going to have that trigger discipline, and now barrel in sight. They're finding success, the Gecko on Gecko action! As they're...
Wow, and we've seen a ton of shorty action today.
Chad is very low, decides to pop the knives. The trail detected off the Nightfall here. Magical, how many you got? There's two. Destroyed. They've got so many players here, and Bruncheon just delays, pulling out the judge, traveling in, and behind him, he will eat! Already a double kill!
As the Spectre is in the hands of yet another defender from out of Mohawk. They're going to find two, so this one finds a lot of value. Three go down. Becomes a 3 versus 2 to try and be able to get rid of this as they go for the defuse. It's going to be a 2v2 late term. That's going to be Sneaky Squid off the reel.
Paranoia misses. Metal will definitely connect, and there's a shot out of the air. Notice has got themselves a 2K, pulls out the shorty, make it 3. Just cleaning up like a barbecue buffet. Is it 5? No! Rosa shuts them down. Hold on, not quite dead. Yep, it's the ace! Long. We'll put Vanilla in an interesting position. Vandal versus 5 will seek out the Sage and take the headshot. There's 2, and there's the spike.
Y3 lurking on the other side. They're going to pressure through. The spray comes in. Clover finds one. Gets a second as well. Rosa falls in the meantime, but it's a 3-for-1 trade.
Edging so close and near. Just a moment. There's your one up above or 2. Can you get another on top? You do. It's a 4 to tally up to the margin.
Cover as well, giving time, but there's not much time to rotate. They have to try for this one. Ketrin finds 2, gonna find 3. No bullets in the chamber, but Cyber coming to save the day.
Stim goes up, that's the no command. Chance now with the Odin to spray through for killed in vain. One player resurrected though, the no command will still be a big nuisance. but the Vandal, not a necessity. The Odin is, and it is barraging the Mannheim side, and all but guarantees Pine Grove send us out of this one.
My ultimate is ready.
Spike planted.
One down.
Separate sightlines, but they're not jumping into their tailwinds to get some sort of sightline separation. They're jumping in purely to go for these kills. They're close. And now Vayne is alone, has to jump over the top of the stone cover, spray through. No way. The classic right click. Chance for a second. May happen. No chance for it is Carrot Cake.
Catch him jumping, going for the next target. 17 HP in a dream. You gotta land the headshot. They do! Are you kidding me with the ace? Kermit! They keep their team alive!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PIEA Valorant action today on this TEC broadcast. My name is PyroJ. I'm here with Infernosys, and we are thrilled to get some Division 2 Valorant to start off our day. Infernosys, it is Penn, Trafford, and Methacton to begin.
Yep, and we have an interesting selection of maps available for us this week. We have Ascent, Haven, and Sunset. So if you're looking at this and taking any guesses, well, there's two that feel like obvious choices for most of these rosters, Haven and Ascent, but it was still the map of Ascent banned out, or sorry, Haven banned out, leaving up Ascent, and Sunset was to follow. It's kind of unexpected. Ascent's the go-to map of Valorant, and these teams, these players want to head back over to it, but it will be Methacton starting off on defense first, which will give them a good enough shot here to try to get through that first half safely to survive the onslaught of their attack for our second.
And it's not just survival of the fittest, it is a survival of some potential champions here in Division 2 Valorant. Penn Trafford have taken a loss, but have a 2-1 full-time record. And Methacton boasting a 2-0 record, haven't taken that loss in these best-of-1 gauntlets in Infernosys. So I'm excited to see what we end up with on Methacton on defense. Maybe it's not just a survival, but a thriving on that first half.
Yeah, and both these teams have victories with like very positive round difference as well, right, Pyre? So you're looking at these teams not just get through their opponents they've gone through, but do so in a pretty dominant fashion. Yes, Penn Trafford does have that one loss, but even despite that fact, they have a positive plus 17, a whole map needed worth of wins to go through and be the superior of the opponents they faced so far. So for Methacton, while they haven't played all three games, they still have that plus 16. They're still sitting plenty fine, but it's going to be a tough matchup, I feel like, for this one, especially in a map that we consider as the one where good teams go to die, right? Every team knows it. It is the standard, what feels like for every other esport. They have that one map that every team knows, and for Valorant, it feels like Ascent has to be that one. But for one thing, we'll say at least the agent select is different than what we're used to. We see a Sage and Arena being teased here by Methacton. For Penn Trafford, a Clove is not your typical go-to controller choice, and you don't see geckos that often anymore for a map like this.
Feel like you see a Killjoy though, and that will be decided by Wug. And wow, all right, some similarities on either side. We've got a double Clove action. So they say, I see your Clove and I'll match you a Clove, both on either side. And speaking of on either side, both teams have a Coconut, folks. So if you're tuning in for your team and you know Coconut's a great player, well, if you hear them called out, it could be the attacking Coconut of Clove or the defending one of Sky. Either way, we're looking for a game of Coconuts, and Infernosys with our slightly similar names, maybe even a fiery matchup today. I'm excited to get it going.
You know, there's the old wise tale that, you know, coconut falling kills 150 people a year. That's not true. It's actually like 2. But maybe with 2 coconuts in the lobby, we'll get close to 150. But it may require more than just 1 map in these best of ones. And unfortunately, that's just not in the docket for us. We have a different series coming up after this one. But for a map like Ascent, these compositions will work just fine. The big value here is going to be for Penn Trafford having that Gecko, being able to have that 5th gun up at this level of play. I found week after week is so important for these players just to make sure, hey, wingman, go out there, plant that spike for me, and then the defending team trying to stall that or shut it down instead of playing passive and letting it for the retake. They fall into that old problem of I gambled a little bit too early my cards, and now I've got to kind of sit within where I've been stuck as they battle for the macro economy early and play that ult orb down here in A main and set this team up for a possible push here through this A archway.
They're rather timid about it, giving all the time that's needed for Methacton to rotate over to the A side if they want. But I appreciate the patient effort. They've still got eyes on mid, still got eyes on that B side, and the eyes have been shot down. Coconut v Coconut action to get us going. And the 2 frags, as well as Heaven site action. That is Kahlua. Let's take down Celtics on the rotate back to even this out. 2 still standing here on the A site, including that of Wug to try to hold it down. Kahlua, quite the effort to do here just to clear that underside, both around Jen. They can't get around, they can't defend. Johnny with too much to do and not enough they can handle. The retake's complete, and Methacton will start out on top.
I mean, you lose 2 players to Coconuts for Methacton, but you manage to still keep every other player alive in that post-plant scenario. A lot of the issues for Penn Trafford there came to not being able to stabilize their post-plant quick enough. You even have Coconut vying for some sort of territory control up towards Rafter, standing on Pixel, trying to get more frags as Methacton were looking into that retake. And you're not seeing anyone else on Penn Trafford moving into what is considered your standard post-plant positions. You plant for an archway hold, and no one is moving back towards archway. Not even a player hiding on the approach into site for a 4vx or whoever's there active on position to stay back in winery and wait things out so that the team guarantees somebody is there, even if you do see that defense and Methacton move in quite quickly. Guiding light up over the top though, and Methacton are trying to at least keep Penn Trafford honest on the approach towards that ultimate orb, but Coconut will swing out and maybe get their own lick this round. It's Mr. French Toast not able to survive this first push, and Penn Trafford still wanting this A site.
Yeah, that Sheriff earning the first kill is one of the weaker guns in the arsenal right now for Methacton. A Bulldog, and there you see it, the Spectre from Joey Dean to assist them in their efforts, but that certainly stalled the action from Penn Trafford as Wug may just spot one. Kahlua seeing the fragging and saying it's not worth it to go down. Wug doesn't have a choice. Goes down by the Bulldog. Everybody follows, and stuck here in the trap of mate is Johnny, but they say, no, you're stuck with me. Static eventually rolls around to complete the objective, and short work for Methacton on the first 2.
Yeah, Penn Trafford going very flat once again towards the A site. No tertiary pressure. It's fine for a pistol round when you know you just lost the pistol before. You're going into what is the opposition's bonus, and it's an expected loss, but your entire intent to as costly as humanly possible. And unfortunately, only a single weapon dropped from Methacton's defensive hands. And they had another player, we saw at the beginning there, Coconut, who did not buy out a gun, and they could easily grab their teammates' loss of life weapon back if they had wanted to. So overall for Penn Trafford, it's a round, and that's really all much you could speak about it. But the rifles fall in hand. That's where you're expecting to see some more pizzazz, and it starts with the first blood this way in Arctic Willie's way.
And they're going to be pushing into Celtics' utility, so there go the swarm grenades to make the job of Coconut difficult, but they swerve right around it, getting out of the action and getting into that kill. And suddenly Joey Dean, the last left. So they managed to make round 2 not that costly, but this one, well, I don't think they're going to be able to match it at all in Infernosis. It would be a lot for Joey Dean to pick away at anybody from Penn Trafford.
And on top of that, you're doing it while keeping all of your weapons, right? This is the biggest part for it for Penn Trafford. If you can't make round 2 cost, at least make round 3 as cheap for you as possible. Unfortunately, Coconut's loss of life there to Joey Dean from the Spectre shots in B main will make it so it's not a flawless round result, and that will be a weapon that'll have to be rebought there for that Penn Trafford player. But the credits are sitting plenty fine enough. Coconut could maybe even go a little bit crazier for something like a SMG, or just play the little bit of a wait and patience game to pick up a teammate's rifle that is dropped on the anticipated entry in towards this B site, because you do see Penn Trafford now sitting in Octopus waiting for their chance to move into that site. And as a Sentinel player here from Methacton, your role is so much more important if you're Celtics here for the KJ, because those nano swarms need to keep Penn Trafford off. But Static is now trying to play the same angle now twice, and the first time didn't work, but the second one, quick lick for two. It's Methacton with a major player lead early into this next round.
I feel like Penn Trafford had the advantage of some knowledge around this map, right? They had hit A, they had hit B, they know what to expect. They could even understand that Reyna, again, is going to full push into main Static to get those first kills, but just weren't privy to that gutsy positioning and certainly paid for it. Now, as a result, the rotate has been executed. Earlier on, it was Coconut to try to take this side, this Coconut. So they're trying to regain that territory, but they end up being in the fray for it as they wait patiently for someone to come through. Mr. French Toast prepared for it, as ever.
Oh, and there's the wingman. Leads rifles up for the rest of the team. No one able to move in time. Joey Dean tries to go through to Johnny and gets it. And Kilo off screen finds one more. What can Wug possibly do in a 1v4? Well, they can set up all that sentinel utility I was highlighting that Methacton had there out of a Celtis, but Wug has to now go guns up as the leer comes out from Static, swing the bin from Killua, but it's not going to be them first. It'll be Static up above on Raptors. Chance for Wug for more. 3, almost 4. They'll have to get it if they want the round win. And Penn Trafford have a chance to lock it down to a 2-2 split. The barrier goes up and it goes to stabilize, but the HP pool is that much more limited since post-patch, and Joey Dean will use that to get the intel. It closes up that line of sight and levels the playing field to give Methacton now their 3rd round win. The rounds are getting more costly every time we see them. We're seeing them get closer and closer here at Pyro, and that's expecting to see the zipper of a back and forth battle here at this level.
Oh my, as costly as it ever could be, including the wall there. You got to imagine what's Joey Dean thinking there as all his teammates go down and it's up to them to defuse the bomb. They failed to basically not allow those isolated fights. One by one, each player picked off. But Methacton will, I guess, wipe that sweat off their brow and begin again here.
All right, what's your plan in towards the B site, knowing you have limited weapons? You could close the sight line pretty quickly. You do have that jet, which is not something available for Methacton when they switch over to that attacking side, but you'll need to make sure you get in towards switch, and there's that toss with the Cloudburst to close that line of sight, but no tailwind behind it. Arctic Willie goes into straight walking, and Penn Trafford paid the price because Methacton have the crossfire.
And Static's been good for at least one on this side for a couple rounds now. Going for it again. May not realize there's a couple players on either side here, including that Cubby. Coconut, wow, it doesn't get much more patient than this. Snipes the head off and tries to walk away with their life. But the other Coconut thinks wiser of it. Still, it is Penn Trafford to hold on despite their early victims out of main. Wug. Just too many directions to have to look at the same time. Johnny now understands that there is that late game finesse that could be brought out still. But it's only good for one. Methacton close it down before the spike can even see the site.
This is a Methacton defense that just essentially knows their win condition is to either stall or keep them back entirely. And I like to point out that for a lot of defending teams, they'll overexert themselves in the process of trying to keep them away from sight, you know, burn out too much utility, try to play too front forward, and those attacking teams will just wisen up to it and rotate towards opposing sites, or key into that, you know, willingness for a TDM, and then they'll play their win condition and playing in for the spike, and unfortunately leads you to eventually acquiescing the objective, and you don't have a scenario or a stage of progression to hold on for a post plant. I'm not saying that issue really here for Methacton. Crossfires are leveling the playing field. It's really putting Penn Trafford in a bad spot, but it's given Static the chance to move into what another place to get these fights. And that's where the cross could go, but you're left alone. You even get smoked off the moment that smoke goes up for your clove of Penn Trafford. That should have been the sign for Static to rush away from there.
Trying to bite off a little more than they could ultimately chew, which was 3 rifles at the head at one time. Lockdown's going to ensure the push into sight as well as the spike down, so already more progress made than the last round here for Penn Trafford. As they do have numbers, they'll also have to work against some of that utility, that being Coconut's flash into the spray. Good for one. Johnny ensures the kill afterwards. Beautiful from Celtics, but Coconut still in that box. Taken out, not dead yet. Can allow them a little bit more life here as they take over in hell. Still 2 more from heaven to push out, to delay. The spray work to keep them at bay and more. 3 eliminations for Coconut to close the round.
Coconut really likes that pixel hold, not only holding it for the first one, but then stepping back to it once they use the not dead yet, and putting Penn Trafford's offense still able to hold on to that top of sight and secure essentially that top control to deny the Methacton retake. It didn't work in the pistol round, and that's why we eventually saw Methacton get their second, and obviously that levels in for a chance at round 4 afterwards if you can drop the rifles, at least plentiful enough in round 3 when Penn Trafford finally bring them back under. But the rounds are starting to fall more on our attacker side, and you do still see a somewhat disjointed buy out of the defense here, Methacton, with a couple sheriffs on their defense, as Static will no longer be as aggressive, knowing they don't have the rifle to work with within B main. Maybe the right idea, and we're actually seeing a default from Penn Trafford, making sure they don't just send 4 or 5 players through one direct line of sight. It's actually a good split for a 2-2-1, but eventually when you get that first blood, you're expecting something back, and Killua was waiting at the right moment, and it's Arctic's chance now to shine with a Blade Storm up, but unfortunately they'll go down with Killua's shots from a Vandal.
Arctic Willie still trying to find that perfect precision on some of these kills. Was assisted with those knives, but found out well by Coconut, leading the effort. Both Cloves the kill leaders at this time, as it is Coconut versus Killua in the midsection. Takes over the kill leader position now with 9. Make it 10. That's 4 for the round. And will they attempt the ace? Not dead yet. Not poised for action this time around. And so Johnny, once again in the 1v3 positions. Not an easy spot to be in. And at least they have the spike, but they don't have the wherewithal for Celtics to take them down. Methacton will once again take over.
One of the things we talk about a lot when seeing this level of play is how it will translate to collegiate, what programs look for in players, and what coaches are looking for as a growing point for these players, right? Seeing a player get a 4K, having the ability to resurrect and not doing it and saying my team will handle it, that is 100% what I would be looking for as a coach or a director for a program in college, right? This player understands they are not the end-all be-all. It is a team game. Their role and responsibility is over. They've done amazing work, but they don't need to overstay their welcome and possibly risk a problem. That ultimate would be much more useful in a round where it is a necessity instead of a luxury, and they hold off in the right way, and the team closes up afterwards. That is exactly what you want to see from them. That will translate so well to that next level.
Kudos to both Cloves, as a couple rounds ago we did see the not dead yet from Coconut get those extra couple of kills to close the round. And we've seen this before. Deja vu, but this time Static leaving with their life. First blood secured. And it has been a common nuisance for Penn Trafford to have to run into Static every round.
Yeah, sometimes they get away with a frag, but when they don't, Static is still alive in the later moments to make things costly or at least more annoying, as you will find a refrag back the other way. Killua, though, wants to move in on the not dead yet and go for more, but a pretty good avoidance strategy from Penn Trafford. But it doesn't seem like French Toast will want to stay away from things, and they'll pay the price because of it, leaving Killua still standing. Back of sight has been cleared. Just Raptors now here for Static, up above 43 HP after going for the heal earlier, and a spike will be down, but Penn Trafford have that man disadvantage, and it only gets more dire as Static cleans up their 3rd of this round. When they can stay alive after that first initial swing, they do so much work for this Methacton defense, as Wug has to see every player all at once, and Static ensures that's the last thing they'll ever see. It's just their 4th kill to go in their way.
Again, we saw that Killua kill at mid after the not dead yet, which gave numbers to Methacton. But yeah, that round absolutely all about Static. You saw them get that first blood and walked away with 11 HP thinking, well, okay, they're alive, but that's probably the end of a round for them. Not quite. There's so much more in store from Static every single round. Now one off the Empress as well. So you consider the ultimate economy is rather strong on the side of Methacton as we head into this next round.
This is where you're expecting to once again see Static play into an angle to fight for the ult orb. They're not even going for the ult orb and playing the macro economy. They're looking to disallow that macro economy from Penn Trafford's offense, especially when they know that these eco and thrifty rounds have been so prevalent for them thanks to the spree of defensive round wins that Methacton have gained for their side. It's just about disallowing some level of win condition, some level of press that win button that you have here in Valorant with those ultimates. But you do have a good win button. It's called the left click, and if it can hat the heads of very important players, it could be enough to give you round wins. And you've got 2 of them early here if you're Penn Trafford, and they had that disadvantage, and possibly those weapons now collected and make it more that they can move on into the A site for a post plant here.
The 2 members trying to flank the team right now of Penn Trafford. Coconut watching both angles, understanding that, well, number 1 is the second could be there. And what a snap from Coconut onto their other Coconut, and now Johnny's down as well, so suddenly it's a 2v2 eventually. Coconut on Methacton does go down. Static is gonna have to work quickly here. Lear is out. The gunfire ends up pushing off Arctic Willie as well, but there's a Lear against them too. Dismiss to take them around the generator, but Arctic Willie swings right around and puts an end to that.
It's a valiant effort from Methacton with the man disadvantage, but an even better performance from Penn Trafford to guarantee an eco round like that to fall their way. But Methacton will start to get really important defensive ultimates online, and you would likely choose to hold off on using this lockdown for quite a while. You want to use it mostly towards that A site, or if you can get fully stabilized into post plant, if Penn Trafford get to be. But the real use of it is actually to counter use the lockdown for the attacking side of Penn Trafford. Let them lay theirs first, and then counter use yours to keep both sides completely honest and at bay. And they will make sure that Penn Trafford can't just rush into that A site like we had seen them do the last time they had that lockdown online. And you also want to make sure if you have these crossfires, which Coconut is going for, you're making sure you have a second player with you, but they were both too slow, and a clove smoke down through archway in top mid will secure that Penn Trafford have really ease of access for a frag, but that smoke's too deep and it gives Kilo a good shot opportunity.
Oh, the ruse really did provide a strange scenario there. But eventually, the alleyway still cleared for Penn Trafford as they move up through mid. Just 2 to take down, but it's Joey Dean, and it is Static who did pop that Empress. So that's going to be kind of the boss battle right now for Penn Trafford as they maneuver towards that B site. Static is prepared for it. The highlighted Arctic Willie taken down and now positioned into sight. That job going to be so difficult, but Mr. French Toast makes it look so easy. They'll have that spike down.
Oh, just a half second longer and that Lear would have taken the eyes off of Mr. French Toast. And now Joey Dean has to handle everything by themselves. Door can be pulled, meaning market will be that much more harder to pursue. And you'll have to clear this door by making a lot of audio cues in the process. And Joey Dean was like, hey, I could rotate the other way. Time is a little bit tight for that here. And Methacton will have to go very direct into this objective. Smoke will go from the afterlife, and Penn Trafford will have an easy way to lock this down. They'll go for a high-low on stairwell in an attempt to make sure that if Joey Dean does swing this direction, they visually will have an easier point to get this kill. And it does allow them to maybe line up a little bit more than would be liked if you get a good spray for Joey Dean, but unfortunately 1 is all you can gain for yourself, and the second will fall in Penn Trafford's favor as they're etching closer and closer here, Pyro, to paint, maybe even paving an even 6-6 splits going into that second half.
It's possible. It's what else was possible was maybe the RNG of that spray hitting both. I thought maybe there was a chance for that high-low to get brutalized, but instead, yeah, Penn Trafford really impressing me. I think the round before this, they won off a bit of a thrifty, and now they're just pushing their way into winning these rounds. I love the flexibility that they showed off in that last round as well, able to move through mid, head on past into market, but of course, there's a lot to work against here. Seeker's out for that information. Coconut wants to work this early at mid. You see that aggression from Static, who does take 2. Had to swing around from the top to the low side, but removes both. And that said, it is a rampage into the A site. Coconut's going to get that information to let their team know, hey, get over here, because here comes Penn Trafford.
It's slow to get up into rafters, but won't be the worst case scenario. You do need that backwards pressure, though. The wingmen will start putting the spike down. And look at the way Penn Trafford have evolved their post-plant scenarios throughout this first half. Yes, we're near the latter end of it, but they're actually positioned well in archway, in main, waiting for their chance to go through with it. And this lockdown will be used as a way to keep them even further flushed back. A use here from Penn Trafford to counteract the defensive lockdown ensures that both sides will have to play into it. But you got to get aggressive here if you're Methacton, because you want to play around it, and you'll have the chance to do so. Just seconds left for it. And with one player detained, it should be a conceivably free defuse, because Johnny is the only one that will be standing strong to go at. Wug with the crossfire from Static. Static wants their ace. They'll get it. And Penn Trafford will not be given the 6-6 split so easily. Methacton will guarantee at minimum 7 with the last round coming forward in this half.
19-6 right now. The KD out of Static after the cap off on that ace play, and it shows that patience pays off. They picked their fights, they waited and played the right position, knocked that lockdown to the ground, and along came the rest of the bodies with it. So we hyped up the utopia of what this round in this half could have been, at least for Penn Trafford, which was coming back to an even half, but it's all just a dream. And now Methacton in poised position to win out on this half and go up 4 rounds.
Torrance will get a little bit of information. He placed this early enough for Penn Trafford to see if Static will start to overstay their welcome in B main. They've been doing it throughout the entire half, but getting a little bit more overzealous than before. 2 good frags in Courtyard will give a very solid Penn Trafford shot at it in our 12th round of this first half. And Methacton's defense has really just been pushed over without an answer to go for it. Celtis as well sitting in the back of Boathouse. Thrash will go out. Timer is quite short, but it may just barely be able to connect, and there it is, now detained as the team of Penn Trafford will walk into their loving eyes, and Joey Dean will try to get the resurrect to their player down in markets, but they won't be allowed to do so. If they're going to get a final round of the half, why not make it flawless here, Pyro? But it's a 7-5 split still in Methacton's favor, and they did in fact get that advantage I talked about on the defensive side of things first.
Yeah, as small as it is, an advantage is as it ever could be. I felt like that last kill onto Celtis, I think, was a little bit of revenge after they detain the Killjoy after having been detained by that double lockdown that we saw. So probably revenge tastes sweet there for Penn Trafford as they bring this game close. But, you know, it's time to see how the strategies shift here. We go from having the Sentinel, the double Sentinel and Sage and Killjoy to now just Killjoy, and a bit more of an aggressive comp for the defense of Penn Trafford. I guess we'll see how it plays out.
We'll get the initial shots out. Initial pressure through B main. This isn't just what we saw Penn Trafford do in their pistol rounds of throwing numbers through a lobby. This 3 are there, but they're fighting for that ult orb, and Coconut's trying to keep them honest on it by moving in towards Winery with a very deep clove smoke to make sure they can get there. A second one could go down, but time will be tight for it because it's got that 60-second timer now. But you got a second person in to try to help, and Penn Trafford lay a good crossfire. Yes, they lose the player in Winery, but they still have Arctic Willie on site, and that's exactly what you're asking for. But the refrag is clear because Arctic Willie is just a little bit too quick, too into the punch. It feels like these teams really want to go for fights when they feel like they could just default back to these sides, Pyro.
Yeah, it does even out the agents when you had that advantage. And hello, gun barrel. Celtis taking advantage of just a nice little stroll through tree, but they're a bit loud, crashing through the window. Johnny takes advantage trade after trade here. We knocked it down to 2v2. Kahlua protected from the Dizzy by the generator, able to avoid the wingman. So all of Gecko and his utility specimen have been eviscerated. Kahlua now versus Wug. Wug having to transition from all the way across the map. Should pop this spike. No, wants to hide their position. Rather does end up going for half, and Kahlua jumps at the opportunity to win the round for Methacton.
You know that smoke the moment it goes up down below in hell. If it's yours and you're on the defensive side for the retake, they're probably down below there. If it's the opposing team, guess what? That screams to me, I need to extend out of hell and go for the frag immediately afterwards, because they're going to be expecting me to hide within it to play off of the halfway timer. Great read by Methacton, and their attack is able to start off once again on a solid foot, and that will give them the likely chance to stage for a 9th round here. But we also saw them not go so heavy-handed in round 2 of this series, and instead opt for about as even of a buy as this one was, and that really set them up for round 4 for all the utility and more. But Penn Trafford come in pretty aggressively, and that's all flushed back by a good use of the sky guiding light, and gives Methacton a chance to dash out now into this A site. Even though they don't have a jet, they've got all of the utility that can force that team back, and they go into sight.
Arctic Willie hasn't been pushed back all that much, though, standing by the cube and getting the kill out of it, so damage done, and the effort compounds. Coconut with a kill as well, and oh, it's Coconut with 2. The entirety of Penn Trafford leaps onto site and wipes them out. A thrifty secured.
It's the flashes here from Penn Trafford. The Dizzy can go up and over. It gets multiple players. The Lear as well is good for giving a short sight to the engagement out from rafters. And if you even use it through garage door, you can send it through the wall, which then gives you even more chance to stage up those players that are still working to even get into sight, let alone position for a post plant afterwards. Just well played by Penn Trafford. The weapons from Methacton didn't do them any justice there. And they came into that one not having to worry too much, but now having a little bit more worries on their side, as they'll go for a thrifty buy, piecing up something here or there. And Ares is in your sky's hand here, folks, and Penn Trafford will have all the rifles in the world to lock down this defensively, as it is a staring battle apparently here between Static and Mr. French Toast. But one of these teams will have to come away with a kill, and Static may just get 2 if they're not waiting.
It was an aura farming battle. Who would push the other off the position with simply their gun, not their gunfire, but eventually dust settles and the outlaw out of the hands of French Toast and the majority of that team. Johnny closing off the door though on this A site, which is and proven to be very difficult for for Methacton on this half. Static rotating around there from Tree, able to secure that kill, and the last bits of players of Penn Trafford are being removed one by one. Coconut being the last. Methacton able to rebound off of that last tough thrifty against them.
And it's going to be 4 weapon upgrades. They came in with a single Phantom. The rest of it was an Ares, a Spectre. Wow. It wasn't the best weapons for Methacton's offense. And Penn Trafford had everything and more. And now you turn it around. All those weapons, all those players they dropped on site is just something to grab on top. A little bit of extra help and assistance to get your double-digit round, as a 10th is in the docket for Methacton, with the difference heading for this one. But Penn Trafford could go for an early peak. We saw how much that started to elevate this Methacton defense when Static was going for early angles. And you see the attempt here from Arctic, and if they had anything but a Bulldog, that first shot would have absolutely torn through Joey Dean. But it hits the head and does not get the kill, and Methacton will be a little bit more patient about peeking that A side, but it does still seem like they want to move Spike that way, but through courtyard will be its motion up on that walkway.
As such a Bulldog supporter, I feel delusional in moments like that, but still, I support the effort from Arctic Willie. Damage is damage at the end of the day. Unless, of course, you have a Sage and so on your team, then in that case, some of it wiped away. But hey, shields are still gone. The high-low set up here by Penn Trafford on Tree side. So Coconut does secure a kill on the flanking member of Penn Trafford. Now the push is on after the ruse is placed. Flashes up. Coconut thinks it's safe, but they go down instead. French Toast holding that position. Still some through that tree area, but that will be the only ones there. Of Methacton, who end up going down. Kahlua eliminated. Static, so much to take care of here. And they'll come away with 3 there on the side of Mr. French Toast, as we're going 1-for-1 trades on each round here.
Wanted to see Zipper. You love to see back and forth, and the standings were screaming this one was going to be a close one. But Penn Trafford in Methacton, even when the going gets tough, it just seems like the answer to it is to just get tougher. And Penn Trafford have the extra assistance of a Blade Storm on top, meaning that the credits that could be a problem in this back and forth, where eventually a team will have to thrifty, and that's where you'll probably see that first, 2 rounds in a row for one team or another. You change it up and you have a Blade Storm to save you some credits. It will likely come out here once Penn Trafford start to feel that pressure, but it's a 4-player stack in a main for the defense of Penn Trafford, meaning that Wug has to hold out against all 4, worming in on the opposite side of the map, and they got to do it alone. And Static has already dropped them to 0 armor, 62 HP in a pursuit for the team now into this site as a double Lear comes forward, and they'll have to bait out the rest of this KJ utility on this catwalk.
Oh, Static was eliminating all the utility of Wug, but ends up taking it straight to the dome on their attempt to do so. Johnny being a difference maker here as they sprinted over to help out Wug. Meanwhile, Arctic Willie closing down this lane with the Blade Storm. Coconut's headband poking out for the elimination, but that spike is down. Coconut, the last remaining here through Market, eliminates 1. Not dead yet, is popped, so now Coconut's job gets even more difficult. Overhealed is the only reason that they have the right amount of health to maybe get some of these eliminations, but eventually Joey Dean puts it to bed. Methacton are able to clear out.
Call double digits, the checkpoint or chokehold. Teams tend to either struggle to close out a series once they get to it, or it's a sign of things to come, and it's a swift just leap into victory. And in a best of 1, that's where you're really starting to sweat if you're Penn Trafford. They've got more digits than we do in our scoreboard. What can we possibly do? Well, that would be the answer to how they got there in the first place, right, folks? The kills have been a major contributor for Methacton's lead and parlay to this point, and a lot of that's come off of Static getting 25 of them to do so. And Penn Trafford don't have a great answer for it just yet, but Wug maybe has a cheeky idea in mind. Let's go deep within B and hide in this cubby for a frag or 2 if they don't check this corner.
Oh, Wug, you want one of those to hit, don't you? The shorty takes care of short-range business, and close quarters with the sheriff is always a recipe for disaster, and this round could be just that for Penn Trafford, if not for Mr. French Toast popping the Empress, getting a kill, following up nearly with 2, but Coconut refires on the Bulldog. There it is, looking better than ever. A 3-round burst, though, not proving worthwhile against Arctic Willie. Static, ready to defend. I was going to say the spike with their life, but actually the spike in main. It couldn't be a worse position here for Static to be in.
You're just trapped in a spot with nowhere you could possibly go to. The Ready Night stack is sprayable, and they're aware of that as well. Even when a visual would be spotted, just a pixel of that shoulder, the fire would start to pepper back your way. And Methacton, the back and forth will continue, and while they have a PC utility like that Blade Storm that can save them a ton of credits in rounds like that and allow them to hold on to some extra pocket change, you don't have the same luxury, and you were using quite a bit to get that job done there. And the second half is proving to be a very tumultuous battle of back and forth. What is the answer for a possible 11th round win out of Methacton? Well, it's going to be playing Celtis and Joey Dean in the gun department. They even the eco across the board. They'll be the first 2 to likely peek here through this doorway. Static's been good for it, but a change up in the way the smoke has been placed here for Penn Trafford will set up a one-way that Killua is all too willing to try to peek into, despite the fact it's perfectly set up for Penn Trafford's defense.
I audibly gasped when Killua walked through that ruse. I'm thinking, ooh, be careful. First elimination is good for not. The resurrection comes on through, but Static not given the time of day to throw out that Lear. Arctic Willie, it's a dash into the wall as Coconut removes them. And now the Coconut of Penn Trafford would like to have a say about that. More healing and resurrection, all that damage dealing. What is it worth when you've got a Sky and a Sage on the other side? Coconut hears the footsteps, calls it out to the team, and relays the messaging that Wug, stay where you're at. You might have some action the other way.
Seekers will send 2 towards A and only still 1 towards B, but it won't catch the player moving towards bottom mid. Johnny is unseen, but they may not go unsung. A double cross here from Upper Puppy. Mr. French Toast alongside Coconut. Coconut goes for the not dead yet. It's a frag for each for the Reyna, but Coconut has no more line of sight and will likely fall to the not dead yet timer of Joey Dean. Doesn't check this corner. It may not matter anyways. A quick spray and pray. It's off to Wug. Coconut will fall, meaning Johnny's alone in the 1v1. 15 seconds. It goes forward. forward. The Thrash needs to detain, not in the back of Boathouse. Timing is tight forward, and unfortunately, Joey Dean is mere inches away from its second touch. You got to start planting the spike, and now with the double tap through it, you've got no time. You have to go for the kill, and there's the use of the mosh pit to get your frag. Major mistake here, and moments like that for Methacton put Penn Trafford just one round away from you now.
There's always the logical decision to be made, but logic sometimes goes out the window when you're panic bound with all that utility of Johnny having to deal with the Thrash, elegantly maneuvering around it with the Ring of Rosie, but then you have the Mosh, then Time's Wearing, then you expect Johnny to peek, but they never do. It's just one after the other, and Johnny so effective here for Penn Trafford to bring them within one.
You've had your hero out of static for so much of the early game, right? So you're trying to anticipate what that will mean for you in the second half, where offense is kind of the driving factor, but they don't have the duelist to close the gap, which makes it feel like they're very flat, very one-dimensional on these approaches into sight. You're seeing the problems from that consistently, and Penn Trafford have no problem, one, retaking, and two, stalling you out for everything you're worth, because it's no longer a utility game, it's a gun-up game, and Penn Trafford are proving they're really good with the guns in their hand.
And they've got to be really good on this attack here, well, at least from the Methacton side, because they lost Static at mid. Static continuing to feel like that first blood is going to be the one that pushes them through, but now they're left without reinforcements in play. They're left without the entry that they need onto the site, and Joey Dean left without real chances here. It is Coconut to sort of bounce around like a bird and a... waiting to go down like a pheasant, and they do. Joey Dean, couple kills. Might just be time to push out and try to take this round. They've got the spike. They want to clear their backside, but as the round did previous, time is against them.
Yeah, controller smokes, though, with a 60-second timer. Come up at a good moment for Joey Dean to be continued to be stalled out. Johnny has been spotted. Joey Dean will have really no time to nitpick how they peek this. And they're aware of that. They eventually sprint through as that last smoke goes forward. And Penn Trafford will have gone, well, from a 10-7 split all the way up to that 10-10. And like I mentioned about double digits, checkpoint or chokehold, it's proven to be quite an effective chokehold against Methacton. But now that Penn Trafford are here, will the boa constrict, suffocate out this defensive powerhouse they're proving to be? Or will Methacton's offense finally be capable of kicking it into high gear? With the weapons they have, you'd like to say, hey, they may not have the best shot possible, but keep in mind the first 4 rounds of this half here, Pyro, were all 50-round wins coming from the team with the worst weapons, coming away with the most frags and taking that win condition in stride.
Any round could be anybody's. And we talked about breathing room. I want to give Static those good positions to get those kills. I think too much pressure has been on them to get that first blood. First blood's gonna go Coconut's way. Penn Trafford trying to stack on their momentum. They will, as Wug follows with another. French Toast gets one as well. It's just Kahlua along with Static. Still just that secondary in hand, but if you can hit the head, it will count. Dismissed to try to get out of the way, and they do. Kahlua follows up to save the day there for Static. As Johnny goes down, it is, oh, Johnny actually puts everyone else down and wins it for Penn Trafford. I'll tell you what, Johnny the MVP, it's just them. It's them with a couple teammates, and they put it down.
Feels like initiators are kind of this unsung hero in a lot of different rosters. They have to be good with the gunplay. They have utility that can help them on their own gunplay, and the utility is obviously elevating the rest of the team's gunplay. And they kind of don't get as much of a nod for a lot of teams. You also look at controllers the same way, but it feels like in the current, meta of Valorant, controllers are actually finding the majority of frags. And we see that here in this series, right? Kiloa's got 19, 26 for Coconut, the same as Static on the side for Methacton is their top frag, but the initiators are, leading in that middle of the pack, still finding good impact kills, but it's that utility that's elevating the rest of those players. Cannot expect controllers to go top fragging. They don't have the utility to elevate that. You gotta hope that those smokes and more, those flashes out from your initiators do it. And Johnny has been so clean about it, and they've been so, methodical about dealing with Methacton, and they'll have to be here as the lockdown will try to stall. Static wants to push through it, and the nano swarms may make them pay the price, but they're running out of time to clear out this lockdown, but there it is, finally taken care of.
Spike down B.
Static clears through all of that utility, but has not removed Johnny quite yet, who continues to be the thorn in the side of Methacton. Kahlua, though, still has themselves. Still has a smoke. The kit is available now to be deployed. But they also have Mr. French Toast ahead of them here in the spike to pick up. A lot of steps being heard here by French Toast, but French Toast removed the stun. Doesn't go down from the wingman. The Dizzy does activate. Johnny pushing on it, but doesn't realize that the opposition is behind them. Reload have to come through for Kahlua. And so in desperation, they pull out the secondary, only to be made second of the round. We're on match point for Penn Trafford.
Oh, the series is almost over, and look at the credits for Methacton. Because of how disjointed the buys have been, they're still in a moment where not all 5 players can have rifles. Not all players can come in with this with full force. And if you're looking at the roster and the way that it's going down, you'd likely want to try to get a rifle into Static's hands as early as possible. But keep in mind, that's where the Empress would have been a lot more of a contending point, when they can't buy armor alongside a rifle, when they can't come in with everything. But they used it the round before and still were unable to come away with a round victory. They'll have to put all of their eggs in the proverbial basket of an A-site take as they put all 5 players here through lobby, and they see the Empress popped in counterpart to it, and they don't know exactly where it is, but knowing that it's used right as they start to see contact in A main, I'd assume pretty early that it is an A-site push, and it is an A-site defender here looking to lock it down.
Yeah, with that Lear coming out, that is quite the demonstration out of Mr. French Toast. They want to make this round theirs, and maybe not on the kill sheet be the rated diff, but in the rounds and the wins certainly could be the case. Arctic Willie going through it all right now in terms of utility and gunfire through that box, but keeping their lives. Coconut, speaking of keeping their lives, nearly able to make the difference. Kahlua removes them. And now it is still 4 from Methacton. They have regrouped out in mid. It is Static to allow Celtis to push up mid, walk there. And Johnny wants to keep their very safe position. Had they waited, maybe a kill there on the Static. Arctic Willie spawns that alarm bot instead. Finally, the push through B does occur. They've carved their way through all that utility, and they should get the spike, but Johnny has secured a kill. And they may be able to retake before the rest of the team gets there of Methacton, allowing Penn Trafford to take this win. Johnny, the last one remaining to win the game for Penn Trafford. Thrash in hand, as well as the wingman to clear that short angle. There is one to market. There is one in sight. So much to do here for Johnny. Static hears the footsteps, ups to hide, and locates the one remaining from Penn Trafford. Key information for Celtis to put this round to bed.
And Methacton have finally done it. 5 rounds in a row, mind you. They've been stuck at double digits of 10 round wins. And they finally get that 11th. And Penn Trafford will unfortunately find themselves barreling against a very possible overtime scenario here. An infinite OT is not one that I envy as a player, but one we absolutely love as talent here, Pedro. To see all of these teams, all of these players be tested in not just the physical way in the actual game of Valorant, but in the mental battle of surviving that back and forth contention, as it'll be a B site take here once again. A lot of utility stacked against them as Penn Trafford will have Wug here, who's been so solid. A mosh pit, so now there's an attempt to stall, but it's the lockdown being used by Methacton's offense as a win condition, and this very well will be impossible to stop for Penn Trafford, and will give you a site to take in a possible post-plant snare as long as you get there quick enough.
Use it or lose it at this point. You got to pave a way to sight, but you just can't remove the potential for the defense to pop off right now. Penn Trafford 2 kills. Kahlua finds one there in the cubby, but they're removed by Coconut. And now the numbers so difficult. They've got to hold it down, but the Thrash Static is gone, done, detained. But the Protector, Joey Dean, have they protected them long enough? No, it's too much to handle for Methacton. The undefeated record has been tarnished, stained by Penn Trafford, who takes the win.
This division is already full of so many competitors, but Penn Trafford proved that Methacton may be one of the best, but Penn Trafford still wants to vie to be the best. And sometimes to do that, you have to go against those top dogs, and they'll continue to shine on that feed. Coconut, well, it was a battle to see which coconut would be the hardest, and it was provably Penn Trafford's here. But talk about Killua and Static from this Methacton roster coming alive, lighting up with 29 kills and 25 kills respectively, and the team unfortunately just still not able to edge away a victory by a 2-round margin. Those last 6 or 7 from that side just left more to be desired, despite the fact they came away with a positive halftime performance.
Yeah, it does feel like there was more to be desired on those rounds. I felt like Static especially got that kill count and that great KD up on the first half on defense, getting those first bloods, taking those aggressive angles to take over locations early on, but then struggled to find success, struggled to find those good fragging moments in the early rounds and just had that pressure. So good on Penn Trafford. Shout out Coach Carlisle as well, as he has rounded up a few incredible esports teams under this program, and it's great to see them play again. I hope we get more Penn Trafford and Methacton in the future, because 11-12, I mean, you were hyping it up, Infernosis, the fact that we could have got that overtime. I feel like one day we will get it, but folks, don't worry, there is still more PIEA action. We just wrapped up that Div 2 match. We're bumping it up to Division 1. It is Pocono Mountain West versus Wyoming Valley West, coming up just after this short break.
I told you that one day ain't never enough. You tell me I hate you, I still call you up. If we don't got trust, we can never have love. I was putting in the hours, I was. But you were calling me a liar, liar, liar. pick a fight in the things that you said. I don't wanna burn all our bridges ahead. I'm tired of going to bed when you left me on red just to turn up the noise in my head. I told you that one day ain't never enough. You tell me I hate you, I still call you up. If we don't got trust, we can never have love. I was putting in the hours, I was. But you were calling me a liar, 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 liar. I've been putting in the hours, I was. And it's coming down to now and never. I was putting in the putting in the
Welcome back, everybody, to week 4 of the PIEA Valorant action powered by TEC. I'm Pyre J, still in Phronosis, by my side on this fiery broadcast as we just finished a complete heater of the last one. Penn Trafford winning by 13-11, just missing that overtime. But we're bumping it up now to Division 1. What do we make of this one in Phronosis?
Well, you've got a team that's sitting pretty good, like 2-1. The other team going 1-2. So there is the chance to kind of etch that margin in. So it really is a guess to go either way. There's no team with a crazy round differential positive or a crazy round differential negative. So this doesn't feel like it should be one we can predict going into this one. I think we'll have a as close, if not an actual overtime game on our hands here. And with the map pool for the week, let's at least make it entertaining here as well. It's Sunset to be played, the one we never anticipated. Both the Sinton Haven band out, and it's Sunset of all things.
I love it. I love it. A little bit of variety in for this pool. Maybe much like the players. They don't want to replay in a Center Haven. So off to Sunset they go. And yeah, I'll definitely be curious to hear what you think about the agent selection in Phronosis. I feel like you got a pretty good eye as to what agents you typically see on a map. You know, there was a Gecko that ended up doing pretty well on Ascent, but maybe we didn't see it as often. And now in this case, on the Pocono Mountain West side, we may have that Gecko selection out of Drip that's hovering currently. You can't see it on the screen. But at this point in time, Wyoming Valley West very quick to decide their team.
Yeah, it seems they've gone for the full commit. The pretty standard, selection that this is. A lot of teams will rock something like a Neon for a map like this, but Jet works really well for closing the gap with the Duelist department. The Breach is so valuable. It is, in my eyes, easily the best initiator for this map. Sage works really well. We talked a little bit about using that barrier wall to, close in that line of sight. So it's a lot less of a gamble as to where you're peeking for these wider archways. Works really well for that B main defensively and locking down that market archway on the post plant offense. The Sova for information, along with Owl Drones, and a Hunter's Fury for stalling and for, post-plant scenarios on your offense, and of course an Omen, because Omen is just the best controller in the game of Valorant as it is right now. Very normal agent selection for Wyoming Valley West. You turn that over to Pocono Mountain West, they still, coming to terms with their choice, but it does feel like that Clove is such a valuable choice for a lot of these teams because they want to have that pseudo duelist style of controller where they can have somebody alongside that duelist, a fake boss here on that Jet to solidify that front forward position. Use the Deadlock as a sentinel, which gives you a ton more value than something like that Sage does, but in a slightly different way, right? More active with the barrier orb, more with intent with a sonar, more of like locking down the site as a whole instead of playing as a supporting system systemically for that roster. And then you mentioned that Gecko again, having that extra gun up. You basically have 4 players, 4 agents that can act as duelists, that can act as frontliners for this, initial attacking side, which is going to be that much more important for Wyoming Valley's defense and really puts the weight in my eyes on Falcon Jaeger because the Breach is so good as a way to lock down that A side. But if they just never go A, that B side's going to crumble if that barrier orb does not last more than 10 seconds.
It also leaves me curious to see if there will be a combination between Rosa and Falcon Jaeger. Obviously, Rosa currently watching mid, whereas Falcon Jaeger going to be using that utility against the very offensively heavy Pocono Mountain West. But we call out mid, we call out A, we call out the initiators. Neither of them will be seeing the first push out of Pocono Mountain West. That is if the stage wall is attacked. And there go the knife slices, rock and roll. I'm going to roll a couple players here. Classics out, but they are down. Swift action here for Pocono Mountain West as they take site, but Brunchion maybe not willing to give it up that easily. They turn their back to Cherry, and they pay for it dearly. Rosa, no chance to turn the tides as Cherry Sleepy takes one down after the other on their ace. And you'd imagine the team wants to get Cherry active on the last elimination. Wado won't allow it. But it is still a gargantuan W for Pocono Mountain West.
Talked about making sure that barrier orb can stay up for as long as you need it to, and even with the call out being made that, hey, the barrier orb is starting to get broken, a fast enough pursuit into sight out of Pocono Mountain West secures that they will take over that objective. And of course, if Cherry gets 4 kills in the process, Pyro, it feels like that's good enough for me, right? Folks, we'll work with what we have, and we have quite a lot on our hands. It's 1 kill away from a big use of that Empress, and this is one of those moments where if you come away with a round win like that and you're expected to get your bonus buy and go a little bit heavier for this round, you would see a rifle fall into Arena's hands at any level higher than this, but they don't want to go as heavy-handed as a lot of teams would. The barrier orb is blocked here by this corner, and Fake Boss will be able to get a good line of sight from up above and the updraft onto Bucks, and the team will say, hey, it's our time again. Let's go quickly because we forced Wyoming Valley West with limited utilities to completely acquiesce control over the site.
And it's going to make for a secondary duel here. As you mentioned, no primary weapon in the hands of Pocono Mountain West, so they're really gambling here, but the gamble paying off. Fake Boss getting the first elimination out near Boba. Flashpoint to allow the team to crash on. Retake occurring, but the Aftershock pushing Drip farther and farther back. Cherry Sleepy adding on to the kills from earlier. A couple with that Sheriff still alive here to attack even more, but Wado evening the odds with 4, as it's just Lil Nugget to take down. Sheriff in hand with 1 bullet. They do pull out the rest as Lil Nugget wants to wait as long as they can. There's the stun. There's the pop. They've secured the round despite the ace. And Wado will be denied their life as Pocono Mountain West take 2.
You always like to look for these high impact players through these first few rounds to say who's going to be the gunner to keep an eye on. We saw it very early in our last series, right? We see it happening here again. 2 players, and guess what? It's 2 duelists. Wado Cat and Cherry Sleepy, one for either side, that are trying to make their presence known. In fact, Wado is the only kills at all in the entirety of Wyoming Valley West through these 2 rounds. But with the fact that Pocono Mountain West come into round 2 with really only secondaries, like you mentioned, the Ghost and a little bit of armor with a couple Sheriffs, they're gonna have the money to buy up, and it'll be rifle and rifle, not in round 4 or 5. No, it's round 3 early where the contest truly kicks off.
Yeah, this is an obliterating amount of economy on the side right now of Pocono Mountain West, and it feels like, does anyone really need a rifle when you have Cherry Sleepy taking everybody down? It appears so. Eventually Cherry is taken down. Drip there, the delay to recover the Dizzy after the Aftershock, but ends up securing a Little Nugget. Oh, looking around at the wrong time. Falcon Jaeger decides it's a great time to swing on the flashpoint. 2 down. King holds it together for only a moment more. The paranoia clouds them to secure the win for Wyoming.
2.5 seconds as all flashes have been standardized in this post patch. And talk a little bit about how gunplay was elevated through it. It also raised a couple of these initiators that have flashes that maybe weren't as good as others, or really set up for them to be played for themselves, right? Utility out in hand is probably the most plaguing issue when it comes to players losing 1v1s, right? You don't really see that being an issue for a breach. You can use it through a wall, through a corner, and use that as a way to just clear through so much of a solid Pocono Mountain West push through that inside elbow onto A site. But with A not working, B could be the best option back again, as they've already won 2 rounds there. But the weapons, like we've mentioned so many times already through just these 3 rounds, not really there as they go for a secondary round here once again. The barrier orb will scream. It's likely a B site take. We just need to make sure no one's sneaking there towards tiles, and Rosa catches Fake Boss lurking.
Yeah, that was the hero rifle already removed. Really the only one of the Pocono Mountain West side to buy. And Bruncheon nearly pays off this round the way they just slithered around his opposition and made that look easy. But it's all due to the efforts of Bruncheon. Get around the team, hide in the corner, and pave the way to success. Most of the players will be able to buy up here from Pocono Mountain West on the next round, but Wyoming Valley, what a turnaround for them.
A lot of what we talk about on maps like Lotus, which, you know, not here right now, right? Was not picked up, but for maps like Lotus, you see Omens being really valuable alongside Raises to, you know, shrouded step past into gaps to get through to that C site, which is so hard to get into when Vices are online with those Razor Thorns across the ground. You can do that in any map. It does not have to be Lotus. I know teams will play a little bit more of a passive controller on many maps, but the great thing about Omen is they have a style of their agent in their kit that has a initiating tool, aka your short sight, your paranoia. You have the ability to close the gap like a duelist, and you have the ability to play utility with your smokes and the ultimate to recollect that spike or transition towards an opposing site swiftly. You have so much in your kit, and we're seeing Wyoming Valley West take great use of that in that last round at a Bruncheon, and they're using that now to try to kind of fall back just a little bit here, giving Pocono Mountain West, yes, the chance for a site take, but making sure they keep the remainder of their defense alive for as long as possible so they can play for the retake. But unfortunately, Rocket Roll did not get that memo and will pay the price quickly afterwards.
And you can see the value that would have been there if they did play together, because now the fights are isolated and they go down one by one. But Wadocat holding on the market quite well, eventually being eliminated by the fake boss. And Jaeger, the final one remaining. Each flashpoint utilized to swing on one kill, make it two. Hold on, Rolling Thunder available as well if they want to try to secure this round. The swing right over to King secures it. Jaeger for 4 and the round.
There's just no way an initiator can get away with a moment like that. 2.5 seconds feels like an eternity if you're a Pocono Mountain West player whose retinas have been very quickly torn asunder through as many lights as blindingly possible. But it has happened now on multiple occasions. The second 2K off of a single use of a flash from Jaeger that we've seen through just 5 rounds. And that is just on what's capable defensively. It gets even harder on the offense, especially if you just keep poking towards that A site, which the Jaeger will give you that much more chance to do, which breaches util. This is going to be a hard-pressed recovery for Pocono Mountain West if they're not careful. And the Sage, yes, not the craziest Sentinel, but with how far the barriers are between the entry into B main and B site as a whole, it's a free use of the barrier every time, which is just free time for that defense to rotate over from A site.
Early elimination again on that Sentinel here for Wyoming Valley West. Even numbers though, Bruncheon able to trade this time around. So the ability to play together is improving here for the defense of Wyoming Valley West. And I'm sure Jaeger is happier to hear that, as they don't want to have to make all the kills. And they certainly won't this time. It's a team effort this time around, with Wadocat completing the series of kills on the 3rd. And this is it. Wadocat and Jaeger good for 18 in the first 6 rounds.
Yeah, and Rosa hasn't had a great chance to shine, which is a little unfortunate, but their entire role is really driven off of being an initiator for utility, right? To get a little bit of intel to pip the team to go forward, but there's not much intent to go forward defensively. Pocono Mountain West have had a little bit of trouble getting a spike down, and even when they're getting it there, keep in mind they have a Gecko to make sure all 5 guns are still aimed up at the competition. They're not able to solidify their post plants, even though they never have to leave their post plants, thanks to the wingman, to actually need to have that utility and information to get in towards a site. So you're expecting that initiator to be a lot more useful on their attack, but we've all seen that kind of limelight be taken in this defensive side by that Breach, who's waiting with utility in hand here once again. Fault line likely up, or if not that, a flash for Wadocat to be waiting. What's the Rolling Thunder could also be used if they get a ton of information for it, but it'll need to be intel from Wadocat with the timing, and there it is. It's 3 players clipped by it. Their shots are so close to killing all of them that you'll have Jaeger still clean up there towards the end.
Cherry Sleepy found their way through market and up around to flank a few from Wyoming Valley West through all the commotion of the Rolling Thunder, but eventually eliminated the fake boss. Now, trying to walk that paved path that Cherry Sleepy tried to set up for them, but it's a long walked path. The scenic route, you could say. It's Jaeger not expecting them on the side. Wadocat certainly doing so, though. The cross set up and the round complete for an overbearing push on the A side from Wyoming Valley.
It's gotta be very calming here, Pyro, to have a nice scenic route on your way to the nearest graveyard. It feels like at least can
Cemeteries
enjoy the
tend
view.
to have those winding roads, don't they?
It's something, some beautiful off in the distance, and you arrive, and they've already got flowers waiting for you and a freshly dug grave at your arrival point. And that's just going to happen when Wyoming Valley West have so much utility to barrage your way. And big shout out to the Rolling Thunder that is off of very limited intel, but just reading very well how Pocono Mountain West were going to end up having to play that out with a lack of a push you were seeing through B site and lack of that barrier orb even being tested, something that they had been doing every time they see that B site. So just saying, hey, not even a knife into it. It's going to be A. We just need to play that smart as Cat wades into territory of attacker control, and it will be Pocono Mountain West forced to refrag, and their jet's good for it, but not good for this next one as it's a perfect flank for Moroza and Cat to have that tertiary angle onto each side.
Not easy when you have gunfire both in your chest and as well at your back there, as Cat completed the flank and cleared out all of the A mid side from Pocono Mountain West. But it's not time to panic quite yet if you are Pocono Mountain West. Okay, maybe now it is, as the paranoia indeed sets in, both in leaving your ultimate duelist of Cherry early on in the round, and as well for Omen to be able to attack on that util spread. Bruncheon, the Shrouded Step behind King to close it out.
Unreal from Bruncheon. Talk about how you can be hyper aggressive, and that's just coming out in full force, saying, well, we had Falconjaeger with a big moment the round before at the Rolling Thunder, and, you know, Cat has been stealing a lot of the show so far with 17 kills and only 3 deaths, mind you. It's just going to be my chance to get something big and make a name for myself, and I think a knife to the back is a pretty good way to go about it. On top of that, just point out how good Cat's doing. Pocono Mountain West have won 2 rounds, and they've done that off of killing every player as well as getting the win condition on the board, right? So even though Wyoming Valley West have won 6 rounds, you've only seen Cat die in 1 of those 6. Every other time they have been one of the last players standing, and that's just how much we're seeing this defense dominate this series right now, and it may just continue with the First Blood falling to this Jet once again.
And they're taking advantage, certainly punishing some mistakes here, having the utility out and ready as they peek the angle. Cat happy to make short work of that first elimination and hold the next angle. This is the most deadly site, having the 2 top fraggers on one side to close down both angles. Falconjaeger able to assist Cat really wherever they want it to go. A flash here, an aftershock there, and another headshot landing for Cat. Finally put down. Fake boss, the job isn't done until you remove Falconjaeger, and there you go. A winnable round is now provided for the fake boss.
I got the spike.
Spike could very well go down, but a short link play could prove tumultuous. And the orb is still inside main. You could have grabbed that, but he'll opt to still head direct towards site. Spike will go down in a non-standard position. Paranoia will be layered over, but that's close smoke from beyond. The primordial life plane will allow Fake Boss to be covered for just a moment longer, and they'll stick on the other side of this Radianite stack. But Bruncheon's crosshair placement is about as clean as you could possibly ask for, and that is something we're seeing by a wide margin be Wyoming Valley West's biggest factor for success. And that is even being said here, Pyro, and I'll ask our observer and producer here for just a moment to go take a look over at Falconjaeger at the start of the second half. Their crosshair placement is that good, and Falconjaeger currently has a penguin for a crosshair.
Gotta throw a little bit of fun into the mix, right? Look at the penguin. Talk. Yeah, there it is. And what are they saying, do you think?
So glad we're winning. I don't know why that's the penguin's voice, but that's the penguin's voice here.
An optimistic penguin. I like that. Very, very cheerful, positive. I imagine them as a cheerleader on the side. And it's easy to cheer for this team with wins stacking up one after the other. We've got the operator out now, so anything could happen here.
Well, you do have that first blood again for the defense of Wyoming Valley West, and you got 4 players left, and all 4, hey, look, they're all in the same exact angle, playing a very one-dimensional pursuit. Shrouded Step here to get away for Bruncheon. They will, I don't think they get hit by that connection from the Thrash, but I tell you who does get hit, it's rock and roll straight to the head from Cherry Sleep, who's trying to keep Pocono Mountain West's chances alive in the second half.
Rado and Cherry both popping off. Which Titan will fall first, though? It is Cherry as Wado continues on with the Blade Storm.
Falcon Jaeger pulls that beautiful crosshair out once again to complete each kill. This one on King may be too easy, but I spoke a little bit too quickly there. Almost getting away with it there was Pocono out west.
And the mascot now can scream, hey, we did it. It's us. Oh, and they even have themselves a second mascot. Look at that. You just need even more friends. You have 4 of them on your team, and apparently you're still bringing one out of your crosshair and the buddy next to it. Either way, Wyoming Valley West have 2 more rounds left in this defensive half of things. And Sunset isn't necessarily a map that's wholly divided like this, right? It's not a majorly defender-sided map. It's not a majorly attacker-sided map. You do see, you know, 7-5s. You do see 8-4s occasionally. But that would require Pocono Mountain West to get these next 2 rounds to make it feel like this has still gone in a somewhat expected manner for this first half. And we're not seeing really great glimpses for that, but we're seeing some great glimpses from these highlight players in Wyoming Valley West.
Oh, Paranoia Flashpoint. All of it's going against the A-side attack. Sherry missed out on that elimination, but eventually gets it with the classic and wants to push right back out with their Leer. Cherry will not be denied the space that is B main until eventually they do go down to the hand of Brunchy on the Paranoia. Wasn't all they had to say. At the beginning of this round, their Phantom did the talking as well. 4 to get a sprint finish to this last round of the half.
It's just a team that is so calculative about how they push these things. And Pocono Mountain West, it's not really a gamble, it feels like, for Wyoming Valley, because they're going into this one saying, hey, we're just going to stack 3 heavy through B lobby and expect that they're there. They are there. How are they getting it right every single time? I don't know, but if they're guessing this much on their test papers, I'm sure somehow they're still straight A students, because this is a just performance that is otherworldly in the department of just guessing things out and playing off the vibe. But Cherry Sleepy has their own guesses. They heard the Shrouded Step, I assume, and Brunchion will eventually be found out. The Barrier Orb will eventually be shot away, and this will scream to the team, please help me, I'm stuck here on B, and now I'm stuck relegated to this cam duty as my team will have to go on without me.
Actually so close there for Rock and Roll to hide away from the entire team and await some eliminations, but unfortunately were found out at the end of the day. Falcon Jaeger going through quite a bit here, but I'd be surprised for them to not enter with that Rolling Thunder. Otherwise, you risk getting rid of it through the half. Yes, it does pick up Lil Nugget. Wadocat by their side. When could they ever be denied their final win this half? It's 10-2 for the first half as Wyoming Valley West march on, I would say, to a finish line that may be very close by.
Someone needs to go ahead and start scouting if they're not already scouting these 2 players here for the side of Wyoming Valley West. These they are playing so well together. Falcon Jaeger has such a great understanding of where their utility can connect to, where they are in relation to where they have any small tidbits of information for Pocono Mountain West. They have such a good depth and understanding of where they lie in their game sense. And on top of that, you've got Wadocat, who is playing out of their mind in the kill department and is doing exactly what a important, position like your main primary duelist has to do, right? The Jet needs to close that gap offensively, and now we'll see that here on the second half, but they have to do so defensively as well, but not in the same exact manner. Use the Tailwind to get there faster for the retake. Past that, walk straight forward, rely off your initiator, and Falcon Jaeger still being alive thanks to playing on that ace side and playing calm, not letting them kind of get overzealous to retake the objective means you'll always be there to help Wadocat in those moments, and there were so many of those rounds where it was just those 2 clutching up the moment to shut down the Pocono Mountain West post plant.
And somehow, some way, a stellar performance of Brunchion is more so in the shadow of what Wadocat and Falcon Jaeger have done. This team stacked to the brim with talent, and it's showcased in this half opener. Not a single one of them has gone down, but if any of them do, it's been by the likes of Cherry throughout this map, as Brunchion will sprint back to try to finish off a Cherry. Sees them from market, but sees the ground. Cherry, the sniper shots with the classic. That's 2 for the name, but to win this game, you've got to take down them all. 3 for the count. Pushing through the dark cover will have to be Cherry as they swing into the ghost shot. If Wadocat or Falcon Jaeger can't do it, Brunchion certainly will.
Yeah, and Bruncheon's aggressiveness is just going to get that much more powerful come into this half, especially when you consider that you can have two players essentially play into that cloudburst. Jet's biggest thing, and one of the reasons why you saw the tailwind get nerfed, because you had to queue it now to actually make use of it, was that you were seeing too many players just cloudburst and then immediately tailwind, cloudburst and immediately tailwind. That still is the go-to factor. Maps like Icebox, you'll see them in defaults for planting on B, where they'll actually updraft into a cloudburst instead, which creates a separation of the line of sight, which is what you're trying to do as that duelist. You can do that same thing as Bruncheon, but your smokes last way longer here, Pyro, and you also are just as good of a gunner and have had plenty of moments to shine like that. But it's a B site take here once again, and the breach util screams, we're taking this side. There's not much you could do about it.
Oh, well, whether you like the Cloudburst Tailwind combination or not, we're still going to see it. Wadocat going in with Bruncheon, as Bruncheon was kind of the one to save Wadocat to ensure that spike push down. Cherry Sleepy again, finding out the whole team through the flank, but once again, it's just not quite enough. The fake boss sidestepping the paranoia, Tailwind primed, but never the chance to execute on it. Bruncheon has the closer for now. What is the match point of Wyoming Valley West?
Yeah, the paranoia reaches its full speed faster now, and as well as that means it reaches its wider arc quicker, but just doesn't go quite as far. But Bruncheon was still near enough to place that on the market for the player, which again screams out to me that they have a great read about where that player is likely to be, and the comms have been made. Overall, Wyoming Valley West have just been a team that has screamed out, we know what we're doing. We have a set strategy. We have a book that we follow, and everyone is on the same page, and nobody is, outreading anyone else by some crazy amount. And there are zero frustrations for, well, one, round losses, but frustrations for players not being on the same exact docket. And you do see that working for those first bloods and maybe more, but you at least have Fake Boss good to close out a good refrag. Unfortunately, 1 HP is not a great way to go about it, and you're stuck over here in Pawn Shop.
Yeah, with quite a bit of steps in sight as well. Those opponents lurking before you hear that spike drop. As it finally does, Fake Boss will be eliminated. Trade never comes through. That would have been the idea, to at least offer a trade here, but one elimination remaining for Wyoming Valley West to take their win and extend their record to 3-1 smoothly with a 13-2 finish.
You asked a lot out of a team who sets up with an agent selection that is standard for a map, right? When you see here in the, in the PIEA, and we're seeing these teams play out, and you like to see all the cool strategies that come through with it, right? I love to see the deadlock for a map like Sunset. The Gecko used to be the meta choice for it. The Clove is solid, but the overall choice was very much so a lot of comfort picks, good value for what they can do, but performance-wise, it's just when you're facing a 32-6 raid boss level of a monster, this player should be playing an MMO, and they themselves are the one working against an 8-man team. They're doing it here in Valorant, right? This is something that feels impossible to go against no matter what the agent selection you have is, and it feels like we mentioned this a lot for a lot of like FPS titles. If you are a systemic team who has a set system and you have players who can fit into nearly any system, well, let those players fit into any system and build up around those ones that are worth building up around. And you can see just how aggressive those top 2, those top 3 are for this roster. They've clearly built up a program and a team that has strategies that work for how aggressive they play, and it's paying out just leaps and bounds with a 13-2 ending.
So much more of the mechanical ability, as you're alluding to here. It is that game sense that these players have had as to where their opposition is, and as well how to get that teamwork together. I mean, it was capped off with that final round of Falconjaeger and Wadocat hitting that elbow side, taking down Cherry with that flash and that Cloudburst Tailwind combination. And I think Cherry even had the Empress on at that point. That still wasn't enough to take a single one of them down. So an overpowering effort indeed from Wyoming Valley West. A team of so much potential from the top and the bottom to that roster, and excited to see more. And nevertheless, Pocono Mountain West, fantastic match from y'all, and thank you so much to all teams that participated today for the PIEA Valorant action. It was myself, Pyro J, Infernosis to my side, and of course Hazza in the background, making all things look beautiful for the production today. So a huge thank you from the team here, as the broadcast is powered by TEC. We hope to see you on more PIEA action as it goes on through the whole week. Great high school and collegiate esports action to be seen here on the socials. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation. It's crazy. And it goes like I start these conversations.